Bonjour, hello everyone. I'm Nata, host of the Nata PR School podcast. You're a successful entrepreneur or marketing manager and you're about to launch a new product or service, or you've been selling your goods for quite some time, but you want to learn how to increase your visibility, get known, and reach more clients? At Nata PR, we deal with real clients every day and we'll teach you simple, fun, and honest PR solutions. You'll learn easy steps to combine PR to social media right now. Keep listening and let's get started. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to this 77th episode of the Nata PR School podcast. PR and marketing laws, rule number 17, the opposites. We often say that opposites attract. In French, we say les contraires s'attirent, but this is not what we're talking about here. We're more talking about this law that will highlight what sets brands apart, what sets the number two, very often, the second brand from its closest competitor. Think of Apple and Microsoft. Do you remember this incredible, magnificent ad campaign that has become iconic? I'm going to put the link under this podcast. The campaign was "I'm a Mac, I'm a PC." This was the perfect example to really represent what the law of opposite is. If you remember, two men were talking together. The Mac was represented by this young, cool guy, very relaxed, was wearing a hoodie, so that was a cool and hip guy. And the PC was represented by a man that seems older, maybe in his 40s, wearing a suit, a beige suit, of course, a very boring suit, and a tie. So the PC is really old school, right? And the PC has a cold in one of the ad, and he's afraid of viruses, but viruses don't scare the Mac. And the number 4, the Mac is creative, so he's making all kinds of video, movie, and pictures, album with pictures, while a PC is serious and boring. So that's the perfect law of opposite. In those days, these ads, that campaign was, I guess, in 2009 or probably more than 10 years ago, but still today a very good example of this law of opposites. And know that this strategy is often used by brands that are second or sometimes in the third place in the consumer's minds. So today, when we look at the market capitalization of Apple, that is more than 3 trillion. Wow. It's clear that Apple really played its card right. In 10 years, was able to surpass Microsoft. But, we're not going to cry for Microsoft because its capitalization is more than $2 trillion. I'm having problems sometimes to understand these numbers. They seem so crazy. But these are two giants. But, perfect example to illustrate this law of the opposites today. And as you probably understand, this is a very simple law, the opposite strategy. And it can really produce incredible results, even in the short term, and really enable companies to win market share. You could really gain new customers using this strategy, especially if you have, though, to do that, highlight the company's weaknesses to your advantage. It's really the David against Goliath strategy. It's also perfect when you showcase its difference and not its strengths. Playing the opposing generation, it's always the game of young and old that works all the time. The in or out style, the cool or old school, for example, or even the designer or outdated card can really play in your favor. So yes, analyze your competitors even if you're really far behind those guys, look at the big one and try to find what's really opposing you to them. Again, here, we're not looking to show why you're the best or the biggest in anything. It's how different you are. This is what you have to showcase. Remember also this Pepsi campaign, the choice of a new generation, the Pepsi generation. That's another perfect example of the opposite, the law of the opposites. The young and the old here. That's what's playing. So this is another perfect example. Coca-Cola is a traditional brand, of course, that's more than a century old. So Pepsi-Cola is old. Well, Coca-Cola is old. That's Coca-Cola that's a century old. And Pepsi is a young, hip brand. So the new generation. That was a good campaign. They used it for many years. So this law enables brands to showcase themselves, right? And keep at a distance those behind. So let's say Apple is second, who's third and fourth, right? So this is a great law because you just show the ones that's before you. So you put behind you your other competitors. I love also to read about consumer behavior and learn about what researchers find. And this is very interesting. It's a simple analysis, simple study. They've noticed that when often you have two distinct groups, those who love the number one, those who love Coca-Cola, they will always buy Coca-Cola. And those who you have, the other group is the group that would never, they would buy anything else but Coca-Cola. So that's good to know. So if you get more visibility, you might attract this second group, right? This is where also public relations can really help to promote the value of your brand. Because if you're not a giant, especially, and if you're not at the top of the ladder, even if you're not like number 2, number 3 brand, PR would help you because why? Journalists and influencers love talking about new brands. So let's say you're new coming brands and you're a new soft drink. They will be talking about you because being new is a great advantage, especially if it's made locally. That's another aspect that is really appreciated among influencers and media. It's also good to know that magazines exist to allow people to discover new products and new trends. So if you are a new product and you are in this new trend, please make yourself known to these people because they might be talking about you. I also often talk about Canada Goose. You probably heard me a few times talk about that brand that I really admire. But around me, many of my friends would never buy this brand. Why? Well, sometimes purely because it's number one. For them, it's too big of a brand, so they don't love to buy from those giants. And so a brand that would adapt this law of opposites against, let's say, Canada Goose could certainly stand out and win some fans among my friends. And many customers, I'm sure, let's say they could play these cards. The first one they could play is the animal fur and down are being increasingly abandoned for many. And if you oppose, let's say you present yourself against a Canada Goose, and let's say you are using more plant-based materials, well, it's time to get this visibility, my friend. Get out there. Tell people that you're not using any animal fur or down. If you're a local made products, I'm always talking about it, but the made in China is really sometimes put aside by many clients and consumers. So go get these customers. And if you're a brand that has a good cause, if you love to give to a very specific cause that your clients will love and appreciate, so tell media about it because they will then mention it, and you'll gain new customers for sure. And even at the agency, we use this law of the opposites when we introduce ourselves to new clients. So how do we do that? So sometimes we say, well, Nata PR is a boutique, a human scale agency, meaning that we're not one of these huge, giant agencies that takes always like one more and more contracts just to pay their rent because they have these crazy buildings and they have a large number of employees, right? So this is the perfect example of the law of opposites. We do use it. So do you know? Can you highlight what makes you stand out from your competitors? What's opposite of your competitors? Let me know. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode and that you have identified while listening to this podcast a few things that really oppose you. That's the opposite of your competitors or a giant. Voila. And if you're not on our list, please join our mailing list if you're not there yet on our website, natapr.com. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode and that you will be joining me next week. À la semaine prochaine. Hey, you want to learn more about how to implement PR strategies? Head on to natapr.com and get on our list. You will also receive the Nata PR model on how to create a successful PR campaign. If you want to become a client, just send us an email to nata@natapr.com. Talk to you next week. À la semaine prochaine.